Hi, welcome to Obscure Undead. I am Ian, and this week I have an exciting interview with you all with the band Ahes Fallen. They are joining me live from their ecclesiastical home in Sacramento, California. Correct? You guys are still out of Sacramento area?
More or less, we actually moved a little ways out of town. Our current home is in a little town called Sutter Creek, up in the hills. It's an old gold mining town from the gold rush.
Cool. All right, so let's introduce who you guys are. Who is Ahes Fallen?
We're Ahes Fallen. My name's James. I'm the lead vocalist, lead guitar.
And I'm Michelle Perry. I'm James's wife. I play keyboard and percussion and backing vocals.
I'm Jason. I'm playing guitar for them.
Cool. Great. All right. Well, welcome. So you guys, this is let's see, you've been around since about 2019, it looks like, and
That's right.
you've got one album in the books already. You've got some singles that came out over the pandemic, and you have a new album that is hoping to be released soon. We'll leave it at that, right? So It's waiting in the wings.
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I bet. So let's start it out. What are the influences of this project, Ahes Fallen? Like how, like from when I listen to it, I get influences of like things from like The Mission and like some 80s goth rock and post punk. But what brought you guys all together to say, let's do this project?
Oh, that's kind of a tough one. Yeah, we definitely do like a lot of the 80s goth rock and post punk. Jason and I have a pretty long musical history together. We first played together in the late 90s in a sort of an industrial metal band called Spit Kiss. Cool. And then we had more of a goth rock band called Dreams of the Fall. And then we did more of an industrial project called Control Theory. I know that, early on, we kind of bonded over the Chameleons. I know that was a band that you and I both liked, and Lycia. Those were bands that we were both really into back in the day. Aside from that, I know you, as far as the whole post-punk thing, you really love Joy Division.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, grew up listening to The Cure, Echo and the Bunnymen, Joy Division, all that kind of thing in the 80s.
Great. And it definitely reflects in your work. It definitely comes out more like there's a good hodgepodge there of different influences. So yeah, it works out good.
Well, James and I both like Iron Maiden.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a closet metalhead because I don't hide it at all.
Right. And there's a lot of lap over too. So, between the different scenes and but I just noticed like your sound, like what you've put out currently, there's a very strong influence to like the goth rock.
I'd say generally that's kind of what we're about.
Cool. Okay. And were there any specific influences that you guys have that went into making Ahes Fallen?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, definitely a fan of the Sisters. I'll tell you, probably the first band that really got me excited about this whole thing was Sunshine Blind. I remember seeing them in like 1995 at the old Cactus Club in San Jose. I wasn't even there to see them. And at this point, I don't remember who I went there to see because they just so blew me away. They just had it down. They looked incredible. They had their own lights and fog. The songs were great. They were stunning. And it's so great that Michelle and I have become friends with Caroline Blind. And, she's a wonderful person in addition to being an amazing musician.
Okay, very cool. And I want to say, and I agree with you 100% there. So to have that kind of longevity too in the scene says a lot about them as an artist. But so I can see that influencing where you've gone now. So one of the other things we wanted to talk about was the visual design of Ahes Fallen, because I know in some of the conversations James and I have had, he's given great compliments to you, Michelle, as far as your design, your background, the way that you've styled the band. Where does that all come from? How does that work for you? What are your influences there for the visuals?
I'm a huge vampire film buff. I just love the aesthetic. I love things like Crimson Peak, all those sorts of films, Guillermo del Toro. Yeah, I just love anything vampiric atmospheric, Gothic churches, all that kind of old style, Victorian aged things. We live in a church now, and we live by many cemeteries, so that makes my heart happy.
I bet.
So we do have a lot of that imagery going on now, which you'll see in the videos and album artwork and
Right.
things
Okay.
like that.
So, along with this, the church design aesthetics that you've got going here and the vampire aesthetics, I do have to ask. So, in some of the artwork that you put out photos, like you guys have the crosses on your head. Is that in relation to like Ash Wednesday, by chance, like a Catholic kind of thing?
That actually happened by accident.
Yes, that's
Okay.
a good story.
That's a good story. We were set up to do a show, and we actually only just had the black across our eyes, which is kind of a bit of a throwback to one of your favorite
Yeah,
songs,
Friss from Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Right. Right.
And it was a show that never happened because there were sound issues. We had a room full of people, we had no sound. So when we were finishing up doing our makeup, I was so frustrated. I ended up just getting my paintbrush and I just went straight through my face with it. So it ended up being a cross, which was just my frustration at what was happening at the time. And then we were like, actually, you know what? That looks really cool.
Yeah, it works. Like I said, I was immediately thinking of like, because there's a lot of um, Roman Catholicism imagery within like the goth subculture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I immediately thought of like Ash Wednesday and Ahes Fallen. So like it worked. So I wasn't sure if that was the tie-in or.
Well, yeah, you can say that about a lot of the things that we're doing, actually. Yeah, being in the church, the songs that one song we've released, which is
Thy Will Be Done.
Thy Will Be Done.
Oh, it's a great track.
It does all kind of tie in together. But
Yeah, and there's a few songs on the new album that sort of touch on. I mean, one of the big themes of the new album is injustice. Not every song, but a good portion of the songs. Just some of the stuff that we've seen with social issues and how the pandemic has affected different populations differently, and just how messed up the world is. And so we do touch on the abuse of religion and things like that.
Yeah, hypocrisy.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. In fact, so I came across the band last May or so. So it's almost been a year. Like
That's
when
not right,
everybody
yeah.
went into lockdown, we started doing the virtual nightclubs. James reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've got a track. Would you be interested in playing it?" And I heard "Thy Will Be Done," and I was like, "This is great. This is like perfect," because I personally feel like the stronger goth rock sound, I'd like to say, is making a bigger comeback within the scene. And you have this perfect blend of guitar and synth. Plus, you touched on that whole religion angle. It was a nice track. So I definitely see where you're going there. But let's go back to the church part here, because I just got to know, how did this all come about that you're living and recording in a church?
Well, like most everyone, we had a very crazy 2020, and a lot of things happened between, the pandemic and rioters in the streets and just all the craziness. And on a more personal note, I lost my mother last year, and we do touch on that in the album. But I don't know, at some point in the summer, it was really, you decided that you thought you were just sort of tired of where we were living. And we lived in Sacramento proper. We were living, it was suburban, but we were on an alley behind a liquor store. And so there was just a lot of noise and chaos. And we were so close to the police station that we'd hear the police helicopters and literally hearing rioters right outside our house. We were just like, it's just so hard to focus on the things that are important to us, whether it be, the band or other things that we're doing. So, you just thought, let's find a better opportunity.
I said, let's run to the hills, actually. And so we were looking outside of Sacramento, not too far away, because we didn't want to be too far away from our bandmate Jason, who lives another hour outside of Sacramento in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to be able to, keep rehearsing and practicing and spend time together. And the opportunity came up that we found a property for sale that had a massive church attached to it. and it was just perfect for the band,
Mhm.
for live streaming, for rehearsing. A stage that I could play with and set up for different live streaming shows. It was just everything we needed.
Yeah, this place had actually been vacant for a little while. It's not a property that would suit everyone, but it was perfect for us. So now we call it home. We've been here since September.
It's awesome. Well, I mean, from what I can see in the background, it looks great. I have seen photos on Facebook, and it looks like a really interesting place, not just to record, but to call home. So
Yeah,
very
and it's a
cool.
charming town. It's very nice.
Very cool. Yeah. So you mentioned a lot about like the things that happened over the last year. And one of the things, I did get to listen to the new album earlier today, and I noticed that it definitely has a more political vibe as well into it. There's a lot more social commentary that you've put into it. So is it was there is it just kind of a mix of what had gone on in the world, or was there any like specific things that were speaking to you guys as a band?
Well, I mean, just with everything that's happening, I felt like how could we not talk about this? And I mean, we're not an exclusively political band by any means, but we certainly have our beliefs and we're not afraid to say what we think. I mean, there are certain songs like the song Stand Your Ground. I was thinking about some of our friends who have been out there on the protest line and just being so worried. We're so proud of them that they're fighting for what's right, but also just worried every time they go out there and wondering if they're going to get, have the crap knocked out of them by the cops and everything. And just, stand your ground, stand up for what you believe in. And that's just something that I think applies beyond politics, but certainly something we wanted to say.
Well, definitely. Um, yeah, it's like I said, it's been a crazy year. So, and more along with this last year, I know James, you've been very active into the online streams, coming in to chat with people. I know you guys all had some shows that you've gotten to do virtually. And through that, I'm just curious. I know James, you did a collab with Black Rose Burning,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right, that's right.
And it's funny because we just did a review on Obscure Undead last week with Anka McGowan for The Long Loss. We just
Okay, yeah, she was on that track too.
so so how is that working? Did that all come about because of the live streaming events and stuff, or was that just
I mean, it was a sort of thing where I don't even remember which stream it would have been, but I heard a Black Rose Burning track. I'm like, hey, I really like this. And it turned out that George was on the stream and, we just sort of got acquainted and, I like what he's doing. He likes what we're doing. And so he invited me to sing on that cover of Shout by Tears for Fears. And so that ended up being a lot of fun. And yeah, as awful as this lockdown has been, it's also been a great opportunity to just meet other bands and DJs and hear what other people are doing. And yeah, I've made some great contacts, some great friends, and we haven't made any concrete plans, but we're certainly thinking about possibly doing a bit of time out on the road next year. And I think just meeting people online through all these live streams and everything has certainly facilitated that. I've made some great contacts and met some really cool people that I'm really glad to know.
So now, Michelle and Jason, do you guys go into any of these streaming events at all and talk to people, or have you made any contacts on your own, or has it been a whole band effort, or?
Well, I usually watch alongside with James. I did create my own Twitch account, but it gets a bit confusing. People don't know if they're talking to me or talking to James.
The thing is, mine is Ahes Fallen Music, and she's Ahes Fallen Michelle. So it's Ahes Fallen M. Da 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 da.
Yeah, but it's good. Yeah. So James is in one room, watching on his laptop. I'm in another room watching on my phone. And yeah, it's really good.
And another just sort of fringe benefit is that since there's things going on in other time zones, sometimes I can just put something on while I'm at work. Like Obscure Undead Friday events, that's starting while I'm still working. And then, of course, we've got Cyber Pagan out in Germany. He starts at noon Thursday for me. So that helps my Thursday go by and so on and so forth.
Very cool.
I mean, things closed down, but it was like our whole world opened up.
That's right.
To different time zones and different countries and different people. So
are there any future collabs outside of the shout one, or was that right where we're at? Right now?
Yes, yeah. I don't know that I'm authorized to say too much about it, but I am doing some saxophone on a song that's coming out soon from another band.
Yeah, you're sexy sax man, saxophone. Oh my gosh, you're like channeling 80s Tim Capello and the Lost Boy. I know you've gotten a lot some people joking about that. So talk about
Right.
the sax. I heard some sax on your album, your new album.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, I've actually played saxophone longer than guitar. I started saxophone when I was probably about 12, and the appearance on the new album, the final track, Requiem, it's a song for my mother, and I just thought, I mean, she loved the saxophone, and so I thought if she's still out there somewhere in the universe, she'd love to hear me play it again. And we thought it suited the song perfectly. And then as I've talked about it, and some of my peers out there in the scene have become aware of the fact that, oh, there's a saxophonist out there.
And yeah,
we may use it again in the future. We don't know.
Yeah, it's a sound you don't hear as much in goth or post-punk music. Like alternative music, the closest you get is what, like maybe ska, and then
right. Yeah, but I mean, you listen to like Dominion Mother Russia by the Sisters. There's saxophone in that. And we were listening to Phantasmagoria by the Damned. There's saxophone all over that album. And then more recently, you've got, I know Black Angel have used some saxophone. Otzi out of Oakland have used some saxophone. So yeah, it's not an unknown thing, but it is a little different flavor. So,
and it fit really nicely at the end. So I will say, like, that was a fitting place to put it. And even if you'd used it all throughout the album, I thought it would have been okay too. But I mean, that's just my one opinion.
I'm glad you like it.
I'll wait until I break out the recorder.
Oh no!
I'm joking.
Cool. Let's see here. What else we got to talk about? So yeah, this new album, in fact, that sax part was a question on it.
Okay.
And so is there anything you want to talk about more with this new album coming out, like that you'd want to share? It really has, it's taken your sound to that next step. It's your sophomore album, so that makes sense. But
well, I'll tell you, the first album, we were a very new band when we put it out. So a lot of the songs were songs that I already had written. There were a few songs that we did write together from the first one, but basically we had a little mini tour booked with our friends 13th Sky, and we felt we really want to have some product ready for this. So we just slammed out an album. We'd only been together for a few months, but I think at this point we have a little better idea of what Ahes Fallen is. And this album was certainly more collaborative. And we kind of deliberately made a step to, I don't know if you want to say clubby, but sort of make the rhythms a little more straightforward so that it might work a little better in a club, a little more straightforward rhythm section. But still, we're still very much a guitar band. We're still we like to rock.
Oh yeah, and you can hear that, the sound, but it was an interesting because you did blend in some more of a synth to it. Mm-hmm. So it was this nice marriage, if you will, between the synth and the guitar section. Yeah. So with the new album, I don't know where things are at specifically in California, and I want to say I just read that I think your state's about to open up in June fully.
Well, I mean, we do pay a lot of attention to this, and the state is saying that nightclubs and things can open, but a lot of the nightclubs are saying it's not financially feasible for us to operate at 50% capacity or whatever, just because, I mean, especially in California with all the gentrification that's happened and everything else, real estate prices are so high and rental is so high for music venues. Just their overhead to even open is crazy. So a lot of them are just like, it's just not even worth it to open until we can open at 100%. Wow. We do have a performance booked at the end of October. Hopefully that happens. That's literally the only in-person gig we have scheduled this year. Hopefully next year will be different.
Yeah, and I think October seems like a safe time because I think there are bands touring, like we're here in Florida. Right. I've had some bands touring, and I think a few are starting to ramp up over the summer, but October seems when everybody is starting to go at it again. So yeah,
September, I know that Wingtips and Cruel Eyes are coming to town, and we're going to go see them, assuming it happens.
Right.
Yeah, a lot more people vaccinated too, hopefully by then.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So along with that, so you're looking at October live shows. Do you have any more live streaming events you're looking to do?
We do. We've got one coming up in June, which should more or less align with our album release. We're doing a virtual Temple 4. It's the Temple crew out of Salt Lake City. They've actually been really good to us. Michelle and I go a little ways back with DJ Mistress Nancy. We met her in person some years ago, and they've been great supporters of ours. And it seems like their crowd likes us. And each time the event gets bigger and bigger. This time it's 3 days. I think it's June 4th, 5th, and 6th. I don't know what day we're on yet. The schedules haven't quite been worked out yet. But yeah.
This is our 4th time round.
That's right. They've done
Since
4.
they
But
started,
this will be their 4th, and we've been on all of them.
Wow, cool.
It's been
All right.
amazing.
And any other events outside of that, or is that?
That's all. I mean, we've been so focused on this album.
Yeah.
And another thing we probably do want to talk about today is, we've got some music video things in the works as well. So yeah, we took made a very deliberate decision to hold off on playing live shows for a while, just so we could get this album done. It's so hard to focus on, doing shows and recording. And I mean, we've all got lives outside of the band too, and we can't do it all at once.
No, definitely understandable. So is there? Can we talk about any of the tracks off the new album? Because there was one that I heard that I thought was.
We can talk about any track you'd like.
Okay, so let's talk about, like, I think you had mentioned as we were chatting beforehand, you've got a single that'll be coming out for this soon, I think, right?
Yeah. So what we plan to do is, I don't want to talk about dates until we're 100% sure and we know everything's going to go smoothly with manufacturing and all that. But we're hoping to release the album in June, and a couple weeks before that, we're going to put it up for pre-sale on Bandcamp. And with the pre-sale, we'll go ahead and make new and improved mixes of I Will Be Done and We Belong Nowhere available, the singles we put out last year, and a new song, which is called Vampira, the Ballad of Mila.
Beautiful. That's a fun track. I really got into that one. So I think, between what you've got already from last year that you're redoing and the Vampira one, that's just that could be a club hit. That's my opinion. Like, that's a fun track.
We feel pretty strongly about it too.
Yeah.
That song was Michelle's brainchild.
Nice.
You talk about it.
Oh, well, I just love Vampira. I just love the fact that she was, the original goth mother of all. And her story is really, really interesting and somewhat tragic. So
It is. Yeah.
Much respect for her and what she did and who she was. So I really wanted to tell her story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing I'd like to point out is there have been songs about Vampira before, particularly Misfits and a few others, but we don't know of anyone who's done a song specifically about Mila. So that was the angle we decided to take. And
I liked that because, you can sing about her persona, and that's what I heard in the song was you're talking about her as a human, like they're not interchangeable, but they are interchangeable. So you're right. She's a very interesting fixture in pop culture and within our own history as a scene. So yeah, so it's a great track. Let's see what else when we go on about, so we've kind of covered everything that we wanted to talk about here. If there's anything you want to plug right now, feel free. And I do have one final question that's a really important one. So, but you go ahead first.
Well, I mean, along with the pre-sale and the Vampira track becoming available, we're also working on sort of a mini music video for that. Michelle's taking the lead. Once again, she's the art director of Ahes Fallen. And she is so passionate about Vampira, and so we thought we'd do something there. And do you want to talk about the other video we're planning?
Oh yes, I'm started working on doing a video for Thy Will Be Done.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so that's going to be more sort of involving all of us participating. It's not going to be so much a performance video, but more of a sort of an artistic interpretation of the song. So that's a lot of work.
It is. And if you
have to be in a band, but
if you have a full-time job, it's impossible to I my hat goes off to working full-time, being in a band, trying to keep up the streams, trying to record an album. You guys are classic.
It's a lot of work. And we're doing almost everything ourselves. We did hire Gordon Young to master the album, and he did a fantastic job. But I mean, we're doing the video ourselves. We recorded and mixed the album ourselves. You know, we're for the most part, we're DIY.
And I feel like and you can, and that shows in a lot of bands like yourself that are 100% like DIY. It shows the love and the care and your passion for the scene. So thank you all artists out there like yourselves who are in the trenches doing it. So
yeah, and you know, we think about, you know, could we hire a videographer or a photographer or something? Yeah, maybe, but she's got very specific ideas about what she wants, and it's very hard to get that. And sometimes, even though it's a lot of work, to really have something that is uniquely Ahes Fallen,
right,
let's do it ourselves, you know?
Yeah, stay true to your vision. Definitely.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so this is the last question here.
Okay.
And it's a really, really serious one that came from Azzy. And
Okay.
I hope you guys are ready for it, because we just want to know, are tacos a sandwich?
No, they're not. No, no. In my world, a sandwich is 2 pieces of bread. Because I know about the Earl of Sandwich.
Sandwich, yes. So
The Earl of
James, are
Sandwich.
tacos a sandwich?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. Jason, tacos a sandwich, yay or nay?
No.
No? Okay. There you have it. We have a consensus.
Man of many words.
Wanted to end it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about out where you are. I miss Cuban sandwiches. Those are good. We don't have
Oh
those
my
out
gosh, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, like, in every place in town here, like in Tampa, they all say like we've got the best Cuban sandwiches ever. But I think they're all right. I think they all have the best Cuban sandwiches.
here.
Yeah, we just wanted to end it. We wanted to end it on a lighter note. So I hope I didn't take you too far off. It was like I was gonna ask if pineapple belongs on pizza, and as you said, no, we got to ask him if tacos are a sandwich. Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you, Michelle. I love
I'm
pineapple.
all about the pineapple. Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, Michelle is also a baker, and she's an amazing cook. So, she knows flavors and things like, mixing a sweet and a savory. So, yeah, why not?
Peanut butter and banana.
oh yes. But yeah, so Michelle, so you're from New Zealand,
Yes.
and so talking about like weird toppings on pizza, I got to go to Australia a few years ago, and they put egg on pizza, which I thought was the strangest thing ever. Like when we were in Melbourne, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna get our loaded pizza," and they had like a fried egg cut up onto the pizza. Is that a common thing in New Zealand as well, or no?
No, but you, speaking of New Zealand and pizzas, you need to look up Hell Pizza. Hell. I don't know if you've heard of Hell Pizza.
I have actually.
Yeah, their marketing is absolutely brilliant. You can even turn their pizza boxes into coffins.
You're right.
Oh, wonderful.
They're
That's
just
great.
amazing. But they do crazy stuff. At Easter time, they always have a rabbit pizza.
Like rabbit meat?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, rabbits are an invasive species in New Zealand, so they're actually kind of a problem.
Wow.
I know, but at Easter time, how controversial is that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And they do a Russian roulette pizza where
Oh,
one
right.
slice is so hot it'll blow your head off, but you don't know what slice it is.
Oh wow.
So it's called a Russian roulette pizza.
That's interesting. See, I don't know. See, I wouldn't know to put rabbit on pizza, but I guess
Well, I don't think it probably works as much as it's a really good marketing thing for
right. Oh yeah, it's
Easter,
brilliant.
because it is Hell Pizza. Welcome to hell.
Mm.
So yeah, but they're not afraid to push the envelope.
That's great. That's wonderful. So well, cool. Well, I really appreciate you all joining in today. We really appreciate you joining us. It's been definitely a pleasure getting to meet finally face to face
Yes.
and talk outside of a stream. Really look forward to hearing the new album, like seeing it all put together and mastered and mixed and packaged up. Is there any closing thoughts you'd like to share, or
Well, I definitely want to say thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to help get the word out about what we're doing. I mean, there's so much great music right now, and so I definitely appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
yeah, well, you're very welcome. And I am Ian here with Obscura Undead, joined by Ahes Fallen, and we appreciate you guys tuning in. Go ahead and click subscribe and share your comments on this video. And until next time, keep it spooky.
This ignorance of consciousness, despair the self will find eternal.